Hello from the Dukascopy TV studio in Geneva. I'm Daniel Schwenger. Alongside me to discuss leaders and success factors in social media is Matthias Lüfgens, Director in Digital at Burson-Marsteller here in Geneva. Matthias, welcome to the studio.
Well, Daniel, thanks for having us.
Matthias, we have just seen the newest diplomacy study, and so could you outline what Burson-Marsteller is engaging in this project and what the diplomacy study is about?
Well, we've been looking at the way heads of state and government and foreign ministers use Twitter to reach out to new audiences. So we've done this study for the past 3 years now. We're looking at 615 Twitter accounts, institutional and personal accounts. And the objective of the study is not to see who has the most followers, but how are they connected with each other. So we found that this year, the French Foreign Minister, Laurent Fabius, is the best connected diplomat, if I may say so. He has 91 mutual connections with his peers, because we believe Twitter is a formidable communication tool which allows you really to make these connections, and it will not replace face-to-face meetings, it will not replace email, it will not replace phone calls. It's just another communication channel.
As another communication channel, so how should influential leaders really use Twitter, and what are the most influential leaders in your study?
So who is the most influential in terms of connections? It is Laurent Fabius. In terms of followers, of course, it is Barack Obama. He has over 47 million followers. But interestingly enough, he is not following his peers. He's only following the Prime Minister of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, and the Prime Minister of Norway. But the Barack Obama account is really a campaign account used by the Democrats to reach a home audience. So he's not really the most influential. Another person who has become very, very influential is India's new Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Within a couple of months since the elections, he has amassed a massive social media following, not only on Twitter, but also on Facebook. So in terms of numbers, these are really the big broadcasters. And lastly, Pope Francis Pontifex has 9 different language accounts and over 15 million followers on all these accounts. So, but these are broadcast accounts. There's other leaders, especially the African leaders. They use Twitter to converse with their audience. They sit down for Twitter chats whenever they have time and answering questions of their followers. So quite interesting. The former Prime Minister of Uganda, Amama Mbabazi, and the President of Rwanda, very open, using Twitter as a conversational tool. And then you have quite a number of the European foreign ministers, and one of the best is, of course, former Swedish foreign minister now, Carl Bildt, really using Twitter to do diplomacy in 140 characters, policy statements in 140 characters. Now, you will tell me, you can't say everything in 140 characters. That's true, but it is these statements, these sound bites on Twitter that are really driving digital diplomacy today.
So I hear influence is something that is used a little bit different in terms of the outreach and of the real conversation. And so this is a success factor then if you use the social media channels as a real way to interact, right?
There's no right or wrong way to use it. Basically, some people will have dormant accounts just to listen to the conversation, what is happening on Twitter, on social media, without engaging. Others will use it to engage, to make these policy statements, or others will use it to interact. I think it's a combination of all of the above, you know, how to be a perfect user of Twitter, of social media, and to engage in this digital diplomacy. But as I said, there is no right or wrong way.
So at the Dukascopy TV, we always look for also the trends that are relevant for business leaders. So how should business leaders embrace social media, and what, in your point of view, would make a successful social media outreach?
Well, I think, you know, business leaders can learn a lot from world leaders on Twitter. In our study, we found that 84% of all heads of state and government, of all governments in the world, now have an official Twitter presence. If you look at businesses, the number, you know, you look at the Fortune Global 500, the number of CEOs engaging in social media is well below that. It's around between 4 and 8%. The idea for me is business leaders have to be like politicians on Twitter. they have to put a human face on the corporation, and they have to listen to the good, the bad, and the ugly. They have to listen directly to customer feedback. That doesn't mean they have to answer every single question that comes in, but just having the finger on the pulse and engaging, I think would really bring a lot to a company if the CEO is personally engaging, at least listening on Twitter.
And what do you think are the most important obstacles that when people are approaching you as a social media expert, that they don't engage in social media at the end? And are there rights and wrongs in social media?
I think the do's and don'ts, I think the biggest mistake is not to engage on social media. I think it is very important to open up, to go out there, and the biggest hurdle is fear. The business leaders are all, most of them 50 and above, they're fearing these new mediums which they can't control. And it's true, you can't control it, but you have to engage and you have to be a leader, and so people will follow the leader. So you really have to lead the conversation. I think that's the key for executives on Twitter. But the fear factor is the biggest hurdle.
And what would be the benefit for business leaders to engage in social media?
Well, first of all, it will humanize the corporation. It will put a human face on the corporation. It will show a company which is open, which is listening, if the chief executive is on Twitter, and then it will trickle down to the different echelons that you'll have the senior directors on Twitter, but down to the simple employee, will engage in social media. And I think it is very important to help the employees to use social media, because those are our best ambassadors. So I think in a couple of years we will see entire companies really engaging on social media, from the executive to the secretary at the reception.
Thank you, Matthias, for sharing your expertise with us. It would be great to have you again in our studio as an expert. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Anytime you like.
And thank you for watching. Do make sure to keep clicking back on the Dukascopy TV website for latest updates and exclusive interviews. Have a great day and see you next time.